Tanka is a genre of classical Japanese poetry and one of the major genres of Japanese literature. Etymology: originally, in the time of the Manya-sha, the term tanka was used to distinguish short poems from the longer kaka. In the 9th and 10th centuries, however, notably with the compilation of the Kokinsha, the short poem became the dominant form of poetry in Japan, and the originally general word waka became the standard name for this form. Japanese poet and critic Mizuoka Shiki revived the term tanka in the early 20th century for his statement that waka should be renewed and modernized. Haiku is also a term of his invention, used for his revision of stand-alone hokku, with the same idea. Form: tanka consists of 5 units usually with the following pattern of on, 5-7-5-7-7. The 5-7-5 is called the kami no ku, and the 7-7 is called the shimo no ku. Traditionally tanka has had no concept of rhyme, or even of line. History: modern. The modern revival of tanka began with several poets who began to publish literary magazines, gathering their friends and disciples as contributors. Yosei no Tekken and the poets that were associated with his Maya-ja magazine were one example, but that magazine was fairly short-lived. A young high school student, Oto Ryu, and Ishikawa Takuboka contributed to Maya-ja. In 1980 the New York Times published a representative work. On the white sand, of the beach of a small island, in the eastern sea, my face streaked with tears, am playing with a crab, Ishikawa Takuboku. Mizuoka Shiki's poems and writing have had a more lasting influence. The magazine Hototojisu, which he founded, still publishes. In the Meiji period, Shiki claimed the situation with waka should be rectified, and waka should be modernized in the same way as other things in the country. He praised the style of Manya-sha as manly, as opposed to the style of Kokin Wakasha, the model for waka for 1,000 years, which he denigrated and called feminine. He praised Minamoto no Sentomo, the third shogun of the Kamakura shogunate, who was a disciple of Fujiwara no Teika and composed waka in a style much like that in the Manya-sha. Following Shiki's death, in the Taisha period, Mokichi Sato and his friends began publishing a magazine, Araroji, which praised the Manya-sha. Using their magazine they spread their influence throughout the country. Their modernization aside, in the court the old traditions still prevailed. The court continues to hold many yutakai both officially and privately. The yutakai that the emperor holds on the first of the year is called Yutakai Haim, and it is an important event for waka poets. The emperor himself releases a single tanka for the public's perusal. After World War II, waka began to be considered out of date, but since the late 1980s it has revived under the example of contemporary poets, such as Tawara Maki. With her 1987 best-selling collection Salad Anniversary, the poet has been credited with revitalizing the tanka for modern audiences. Today there are many circles of tanka poets. Many newspapers have a weekly tanka column, and there are many professional and amateur tanka poets. Makoto Uka's poetry column was published 7 days a week for more than 20 years on the front page of Asahi Shimbun. As a parting gesture, outgoing PM Junichiro Kwazumi wrote a tanka to thank his supporters. The Japanese imperial family continued to write tanka for the new year. 1. Poetic culture. In ancient times, it was a custom between two writers to exchange waka instead of letters in prose. In particular, it was common between lovers. Reflecting this custom, 5 of the 20 volumes of the Kokin Wakasha gathered waka for love. In the Heian period the lovers would exchange waka in the morning when lovers met at the woman's home. The exchanged waka were called kinaginu, because it was thought the man wanted to stay with his lover, and when the sun rose he had almost no time to put on his clothes on which he had lain instead of a mattress. Works of this period, the Pillow Book and the Tale of Genji, provide us with such examples in the life of aristocrats. Murasaki Shikibu uses 795 waka in her The Tale of Genji as waka her characters made in the story. Some of these are her own, although most are taken from existing sources. Shortly, making and reciting waka became a part of aristocratic culture. They recited a part of appropriate waka freely to imply something on an occasion. Much like with tea, there were a number of rituals and events surrounding the composition, presentation, and judgment of waka. There were two types of waka party that produced occasional poetry, Utakai and Uawase. Utakai was a party in which all participants wrote a waka and recited them. Utakai derived from Shikai, Kanchi party, and was held in occasion people gathered like seasonal party for the new year, some celebrations for a newborn baby, a birthday, or a newly built house. Uawase was a contest in two teams. Themes were determined and a chosen poet from each team wrote a waka for a given theme. The judge appointed a winner for each theme and gave points to the winning team. The team which received the largest sum was the winner. The first recorded Uawase was held in around 885. At first, Uawase was playful and mere entertainment, but as the poetic tradition deepened and grew, it turned into a serious aesthetic contest, with considerably more formality. Poets, Okie Nobami, Majorkashiki, Yosei no Akiko, Ishikawa Takuboku, Saithamokichi, Ita Sashio, Kitahara Hokushu, Nagatsuka Takashi, Okamoto Kanoko, Wakayama Bokizui, Orakuchi Shinobu under the pseudonym Shirkuchoku, Terayama Shujai, Tawara Maki, Yukio Mitsuma, Akiko Baba, Nakajo Fumiko, Saito Fumi. See also, Hunkadri, Japanese language, Japanese phonology, List of Japanese language poets, List of Kyogo, List of national treasures of Japan, Ryuka, Notes. Bibliography, Keene, Donald, Dawn to the West, Japanese Literature of the Modern Era, Poetry, Drama, Criticism, Columbia University Press, 1999, Modern Anthologies, Nakano, Jiro, Outcry from the Inferno, Atomic Bomb Tanka Anthology, Honolulu, Hawaii, Bamboo Ridge Press 1995 ISBN 0-910043-38-8, 104 ppA 103 Tanka by 103 Poets, Schifert, Edith, and Yuki Soa, Editors and Translators, Anthology of Modern Japanese Poetry, Rutland, Vermont, Tultul, 1972, Ueda, Makoto, Modern Japanese Tanka, an Anthology, NY, Columbia University Press. 1996 ISBN 0-231-10432-4 Cloth ISBN 978-0-231-10433-3 PBK, 257 ppA 400 Tanka by 20 Poets, Modern Translations, Baba, Akiko. Heavenly Maiden Tanka. Trans. Hatsu Kawamura and Jane Riachhold. Guilala CA, AHA Books, 1999, Nakajo, Fumiko. Breasts of Snow. Trans. Hatsu Kawamura and Jane Riachhold. Tokyo, The Japan Times Press, 2004, Saito, Fumi, White Letter Poems. Trans. Hatsu Kawamura and Jane Riachhold. Guilala CA, AHA Books, 1998.